Do another biopic? If yes, who would you like to play?
To be very honest, and I'm not being arrogant here, I just want to specify. But I want something to happen in my life or do something in my life. And I want to have a friend who's very rich, who's gonna invest money. I would really like to make a biopic on myself, and I would like to act in it. I just want to see whether this
you
works.
cannot get more self-obsessed
It is just a very original idea.
It's a TV actor and coming from a small town.
No, it's a great story, but
it is
himself.
definitely-
No,
Yeah,
but this
why not?
idea is so fresh that,
Yeah.
playing myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Sachin has played himself in Sachin documentary, na? Like,
It's a documentary.
but it is almost like a film actually, na? It's like proper film.
So something should happen in my life, and biopic should be made on me.
Bilkul. Last question. What will you do if you wake up as a
Can I
foreign
add
people?
something to
Ji,
that
bilkul, please.
dream? Because when you dream
Bilkul.
so big,
Haan ji.
you should take care of everything. Because if it becomes real, then
Haan ji.
you should.
Haan ji.
That film should break Bahubali's record also.
One should be ambitious. There's absolutely no. There's absolutely.
Dreams have no
बिल्कुल
limits.
एकदम बिल्कुल छप्पर फाड़ के एकदम बिल्कुल उन्होंने मांग दिया है. Sanyukta Rathi from Pune. Sushant, you look so calm and humble. What according to you is the best way to deal with haters or trolls?
I'm not saying that don't be aware of what's happening, because that's very important to know. But Einstein said this to Madame Curie. So there was something went wrong with Madame Curie after she was the first lady to win the Nobel Prize. So while that was a great news, I think the society was not ready for it. So there were rumors about her, and she was very, perplexed, something like that. So Einstein wrote a letter, and I'm elaborating it because it is important for everybody. So Einstein wrote a letter to her and saying that everything is fine and this is it. If you ever care yourself with deliberate negative reviewers, if you have to do it, then just measure the length of the article. That's it.
That's very interesting. That's
You
really
just need
very.
a ruler for that.
That's very interesting. Social media trials.
कभी-कभी बहुत ज़रूरी है. बहुत ही important weapon है वो. छुरा को शार्प करते रहते तो शार्प होता है, लेकिन हम उससे ऑपरेशन भी कर सकते हैं, उससे किसी को मार भी सकते हैं. तो छुरा है वो.
Social media trials.
सोशल मीडिया छुरा है. इसके साथ हम लोग बहुत अच्छी चीज़ भी कर सकते हैं.
Social media trials कह रहे हैं.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If somebody has actually
Right.
made a mistake, this is a
Right.
very important tool to punish, like immediately, and it can put pressure on agencies to take immediate actions. So in that way, it's a good thing, and if somebody is not at fault, it's a very bad thing.
I was just going through your Twitter timeline and some of your interviews. I think you're quite a philosopher. You like just quoting from Socrates and Nietzsche and James Dean and all sorts of people.
Of course, I think in last few years I've realized that all opinions I had, there's no truth to it, or they are very abstract.
Right.
And then also interacting with Diwakar and Shekhar over the last 1.5 to 2 years.
Right, Shekhar Kapoor.
Shekhar Kapoor, is when I realized, okay, so we have these strong opinions because of what we believe in, but just because we don't know so many things about so many things is why we are so, we are holding on to those opinions. So I started opening out, maybe. That's why.
I watched Kedarnath. The confusion about the religious identity in a way, and or be it the class divide. There's a lot of subtlety in your performance. Would you like to talk about that?
I think it's very recently that I realized one thing, that we all act all the time. I'm not saying act in terms of that we lie all the time, but I'm saying that we generally act all the time. And as an actor, what I used to do in films is that we are told not to act, make it natural. Well, that's a great way to go. But then I thought my characters, just like me, could also act in front of my co-characters. So when you think like that, then you try to cut down your emotions so that the other co-character does not. If you don't want to, don't want them to know, then you're cutting down on emotions, and what you're left with on your face are just those small nuances.
We've seen quite a few actors who played cricketers or various other sports. Some have been convincing, some maybe have not been that convincing. But it looks like 100% convincing that the way the helicopter shot is going is something brilliant. So if you can talk about the learning part, that hunger for learning that Dhoni has.
First thing, the hunger for learning. I can totally connect with that. I have started from nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's not even zero. It's like minus because I was doing something else. There was a momentum to become an engineer, and suddenly I discovered this thing that I really like, and I start doing it. But at the same time, as a kid, I also had many dreams. Like common dreams. You know, I'll buy my own house and I'll buy this car, it's a luxury car. So these things were there. And now when I started following my my dream in the sense of changing my career, I started earning money to an extent that I could actually afford all these things.
What one expects from a period movie is in terms of the color, but there's a lot of thrill element into it. That I think the pace, at least on the promos, it's very, very fast paced, and you're saying that it's primarily catering to the youthful audience.
Of course, I don't think it has changed since last 60 years. I think the most fundamental thing that should be there in a film, especially of this genre, is if you can sustain the idea of what's going to happen next. So that's the first thing that we, as a filmmaker, you get to learn. Okay, this is something that should be consistent in a film. So Sharadindu's stories, all the 31 and 32, it's got a style, and he is able to maintain that thing. So everything that he has done with the script, everything, all the things that you were saying, that okay, there's a Japanese invasion happening, there is Chinese guys, there are American GIs in the film, there is an opium trade in the film,
right.
There is a Calcutta underworld very thriving at that point of time, there is Indian National Army. So these are the things that were there in Calcutta at that point of time. Also because of Sharadindu, what he has written, so he has kept the essence alive. He has kind of created that consistent what if, what next thing in the film. I think it doesn't change whether it's 1940s or it's a story of 70s or 2050.
If you could meet any historical figure, who would it be?
Mr. Gandhi.
Why?
I find his ideologies very, very exciting, more exciting than what I thought as a kid when I was reading what he did. So now I understand its value, just not in moral and moral sense or ethics sense, but also in terms of getting people together and making them good individually and as a team.
एक शब्द में जवाब, लखना और सुशांत सिंह राजपूत की एक कॉमन आदत.
डरते नहीं है.
डरते नहीं है राजपूत.
इसलिए नहीं, इसलिए कि पता है कि क्या चाहिए और वो क्यों चाहिए. तो फिर अगर ये दोनों पता होता है तो डर कम लगता है.
For you to just get into a period drama, such a early stage of your career, how difficult was it for you? Because apart from the fact that there is a subtext, there's a lot of layers around it, the sort of matchbox that you're using, the sort of cigarettes that you're using, the sort of almost everything that you're using. And it must have been tough to just remember everything.
That is the thing, I'll tell you what. It was challenging when I thought about doing the film.
Right.
But then just because after having so many conversations with Diwakar, I was so sure that I can, okay, for these next 4 months I'll do the prep for the film. And we'll get to know about the film and the character.
Right.
But I can take that leap of faith. I can improvise, I can do all sort of things that I feel like doing while I'm acting. And Diwakar will take care of it. He'll tell me that no, do not do this. This is where you're going wrong. So just because of that faith, was I able to perform like this. And I feel that this is the most, as I've told you, this is the most honest I have ever been as an actor since 8 years of my acting career.
Does it bother you as a creative person that when certain things are inferred, जिसका कोई ऐसे आपने भी कहा कॉन्टेक्स्ट मिक्स हो जाता है, जिसका कोई फंसाने में कोई जिक्र भी नहीं था. जैसे मैंने कुछ जो चीज़ें मैंने पढ़ी जब ये सारा कि उत्तराखंड में बैन हो गई है, एंड आई रेड दैट सेम स्टेटमेंट इन सेवरल ट्वीट्स बाय लॉट ऑफ पीपल कि ये बात एकदम बिल्कुल गलत थी कि प्रलय इस वजह से आई कि एक मुस्लिम फैमिली को केदारनाथ से जाने के लिए बोल दिया गया. ये तो कोई जिक्र भी नहीं था उसका. तो दैट वाज नेवर.
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ कि
जो इन्वायरमेंट का आपने जो बोला था कि भाई ओवर कमर्शलाइजेशन नहीं होना चाहिए, उसका तो कोई जिक्र ही नहीं हो रहा है.
देखिए वही जैसे आपने ये बात को स्पेसिफिकली कहा. सो नाउ आई अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्टेक्स्ट. आई कैन गिव यू अ स्पेसिफिक आंसर टू दिस. एज अ सोसाइटी वी डोंट एक्नॉलेज नुआंस एंड दैट गेट्स मैनिफेस्टेड इन डिफरेंट मेजर प्रॉब्लम्स दैट वी हैव टुडे. इट इज द सेम थिंग. वी डोंट सी दैट देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ कोरिलेशन एंड अ कॉजेशन. चीजें साथ में अक्सर होती हैं. अगर ऐसा होता तो ये 2-3 चीजें साथ में होती और वो होंगी. देयर इज अ पैटर्न. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये चीज ये कॉज कर रही है. सो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन कोरिलेशन एंड कॉजेशन.
To the failure part of it, he goes through a lot of failures. He goes through a lot of talk that his contemporaries like Kaf and other people they've reached where they've reached. But that failure definitely must have been extremely important for him, for just building up that hunger for achieving what he finally achieved.
Like failures, it's extremely important. I think I would value a massive failure more than a mediocre success. We are taught to be so careful. We are taught to not fail. You have to succeed. That's fine. You want to succeed, you please succeed. But being careful is the problem. You need to learn how not to be careful. You need to try different things. Only then, once in like 100 times or 200 times, you'll hit on something that's completely fresh. And that's going to change everything for everybody. So it's extremely important to fail.
3 books according to you everyone must read.
School books, because that's how you and I think people miss out on religious texts these days. I would just tell them to also read that, so as to see that there could be striking similarities between what we study now and those texts written then. Those are different layers of cryptography. It's like condensed metaphors, but if you want to see, you can see these things. So that is very fascinating. So they should also read. And the third thing that I think everyone should read is coding. Just like one language is required for any career, like doctor, you need to know English or Hindi or anything like that. In 3 to 5 years, everyone will be required to know coding.
Do you think that it's important for people to realize that just fighting over trivial issues like religion and that मैं तुमसे बेहतर हूँ और मेरी बात माननी चाहिए, do you think it's high time people realize that?
हाई टाइम से भी अगर कुछ ज़्यादा इमीडिएट टाइम हो सकता है तो वो टाइम है अभी, बिकॉज दिस इज़ फॉर श्योर आवर इग्नोरेंस कैन नॉट स्टॉप व्हाट इज़ इनएविटेबल. और मैं जो इनएविटेबिलिटी की बात कर रहा हूँ वो है जो अभी टेक्नोलॉजी से भी आएगी. आपको मैं एक फैक्ट देता हूँ. 65% ऑफ द किड्स हु आर गोइंग टू किंडरगार्टन दिस ईयर will end up, if they ever end up having a job, will end up working for technologies that are still not invented yet. तो जब ऐसा होता है तो schools को भी पता नहीं होता कि वो पढ़ाएं क्या. तो अभी हम ऐसे स्टेट पे हैं कि हमें पता ही नहीं है कि हमें पढ़ाना भी क्या चाहिए. तो हम कितना अच्छा पढ़ते हैं और आपस में हमारी रैंकिंग क्या है, ये तो इममटीरियल हो गया. मैं आपको पूरे ग्लोबल प्रॉब्लम बता रहा हूँ. हमें नया नॉलेज स्ट्रक्चर बना रहे हैं एजुकेशन का, जिसमें हम इमोशनल क्वोशंट पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दे रहे हैं, जिसमें हम बच्चों को ये बता रहे हैं कि अननोन सिचुएशंस में कैसे डील करें, क्योंकि हमेशा अननोन सिचुएशंस ही होंगे अब, क्योंकि अब रेट ऑफ चेंज इंक्रीज़ हो रहा है. पहले चेंज कांस्टेंट था, अब रेट ऑफ चेंज इंक्रीज़ हो रहा है. तो हमें ही नहीं पता कि क्या होने वाला है. सो फॉर दैट योर इमोशनल स्टेबिलिटी इज़ वेरी वेरी रिक्वायर्ड. सो इमोशनल क्वोशंट पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया जा रहा है. कोडिंग सिखाई जा रही है बच्चों को, क्योंकि अगर आपको कोडिंग नहीं आती 5 साल के अंदर, अभी जैसे मैं कुछ भी हो सकता हूँ, आप कुछ भी हो सकते हैं. जैसे हमें अंग्रेज़ी आती है, हमें मैथमेटिक्स आता है, वर्किंग नॉलेज है जिससे हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं. 5 साल के बाद कोडिंग वैसी चीज़ हो जाएगी. और हमारा इग्नोरेंस, हमें नहीं पता है, लोग इस बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं, विल नॉट स्टॉप इट फ्रॉम कमिंग. अगर लोग इसके बारे में पता, सबके पास गूगल है, गूगल पे जाएं, पता करें. ये सारी चीज़ें हो रही हैं, ये होंगी नहीं, हो रही हैं. And it has always been like this. Future is already here. It is just unevenly distributed. उसको पूरा आने में थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, लेकिन आ जाएगा. आज नहीं तो कल आ ही जाएगा, क्योंकि it is inevitable. It is mathematical. It is that precise.
I believe while you're acting, you just close your mobile for I think months, and people can't access you, and you're not invited to parties and events. That's what you've said in one of the interviews.
Yeah.
So for an actor, it is important to just totally get away from all the communication whatsoever.
I think whatever it takes, you have to have that frame of mind where you can try to create something new. So I mean, like, there can be different process to do the same thing. This was important for this particular film because the era that we are talking about is 1940s,
Right.
and there was no internet, there was no phones, there was no mineral water, there was no automatic cars. So all the things that I could have done to start with to break the pattern that we normally live in, I started with that, and then I worked on the characters and other nuances of the
Rapid fire with Sushant Singh Rajput. So this round is ye ya wo. You have to choose any one of the two. Okay. Films या television?
Film.
Critical acclaim या popular awards?
अगर authentic है तो popular awards.
Lean body या bulked up muscular body?
Fit body. तीसरा भी option देता है.
Okay. लस्सी या whiskey?
लस्सी.
Instagram या Twitter?
पहले Twitter था, अब Instagram.
Diplomacy या सच?
सच है, कभी भी.
Night out या good night sleep?
Night out करके अगले दिन good night sleep. How about that?
Okay. पवित्र रिश्ता या किस देश में है मेरा दिल?
ये बहुत मुश्किल है. लेकिन पवित्र रिश्ता.
परिणीति चोपड़ा या वानी कपूर, बेटर co-star?
बेटर इन टर्म्स ऑफ नहीं, ये तो बड़ा जनरल क्वेश्चन हो गया ना. बेटर co-star मतलब एक्टर पर्सन कुछ स्पेसिफिक होना पड़ेगा. आपको भी स्पेसिफिक हो.
बेटर co-actor?
Co-actor.
Yeah.
परिणीति.
If you can please answer the following questions in one word very rapidly. One contemporary actor that you admire.
रणबीर.
One recent film you wish you had acted in.
तुम्बाड़.
Tumbad. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You would have wanted to do that film.
I hate Gandhi for that. He's my way. I admire him. We are friends.
Right.
But I wanted to be in that film.
You mentioned who Gandhi you are referring to?
Anand Gandhi.
Anand Gandhi. Okay.
Yeah.
If you could exchange one thing with Sara Ali Khan.
Books. She also has read many books.
She likes to read as well.
Yeah.
One thing you could steal from Ekta Kapoor.
Her diamond ring.
A diamond ring.
It's such a big diamond ring. I often tell her that it's so distracting.
One thing in life you wish had never happened.
Never happened.
Yeah.
The Big Bang.
The big now. Okay. If a movie was made on you, what genre will it be?
Horror.
Why do you say
Yeah,
that?
because I want sequels. So even if I die, I can play ghosts, right? Horror. Good answer. Yeah.
What would you do if you were invisible?
Everything that I can't tell you right now.
Most promising newcomer of the recent times.
Promising. Give me names and I'll choose one.
Sara is like your co-star, but apart from that, maybe Janvi can be there.
Oh, Vicky Kaushal.
Vicky
for
Kaushal.
sure. I love. She's
Oh.
a very fine act. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Vicky is excellent. Hot or not? Following statements, whether they're hot or not.
Okay.
Fast bikes.
Hot.
Everyday live updates on social media.
Not.
False accent.
Not.
Paparazzi.
Hot.
Social media trials.
Not.
If you can describe the following people in one word. Okay, Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Without a word. He doesn't need a word. He's good.
Chetan Bhagat.
Efficient.
Ekta Kapoor.
Extremely efficient. Oh, sorry. These are two words. Love.
Okay, Parineeti Chopra.
Confident.
Rakhi Sawant.
Confident.
Sara Ali Khan.
Sharp.
Sushant Singh Rajput.
Paradox.
Paradox, why do you say that?
I might sound conflicting over a period of time, not in the same time. Because I'm not. But over a period of time, I might sound conflicting. Again, the same problem, the context. We forget the context, we remember the statements.
You're an Aquarian or like a
Cusp.
cusp.
Again,
Aquarian,
see?
Aquarian and Capricorn.
Yeah.
Because
And
Aquarians.
Saturday, 11:30 p.m. See? I was ready to party the moment I was here.
If you can go and change one thing about your past, what will it be?
I'll spend more time with my mother.
Okay. We've spoken about that. Okay. If you were to play a superhero, who would play your sidekick?
Who?
Any actor that you can think of.
Oh, I thought a superhero who would play my sidekick.
We don't mind that.
I have big ambitions.
One should have.
I've got
actually.
big
One should have.
ambitions.
One should have.
Yeah.
One should have.
I would like Iron Man to be my sidekick.
Okay. And if you have to choose any actor, okay, Iron Man as in.
No, Iron Man.
I would
As a
like to be
superhero.
Iron
But
Man.
any actor that comes to your mind.
A sidekick is a very demeaning word.
Okay, ठीक है, no problem at all. Okay, one similarity in the characters of Shiv in Rapta and Dhoni in MSD. Is there any similarity?
Yes. They don't. They both don't. They are not obsessed with future.
Okay, your ideal solo backpack trip destination.
I still have to go there, but Iceland.
Iceland. Okay, she has been there.
No.
that was Kajol.
Neeru, I'm not there in that.
Amongst all the cricketers, who do you think has the best of swag, apart from Dhoni?
Kohli.
Okay, if you have to swap one of your quality with MSD, which quality will it be?
Cricketing skills, I'm still not there.
An inspiring quote you would love to dedicate to everyone.
He who thinks he can, he who thinks he can't are both usually right.
Can you say that once again?
He who thinks he can and he who thinks he can't are both usually right.
Very abstract, man. Seriously, but good, really good. If there's a cricket match between Bollywood celebrities, who from Bollywood you think will be best for following posts? Wicket keeper.
Me?
Captain.
Mr. Bachchan.
Umpire.
You.
Commentator.
Commentator? Alia.
Cheerleader.
Can I also be the cheerleader and wicket keeper at the same time? I can do both.
No, you can't actually.
Right. Cheerleader would be, I think Tiger, he dances very well.
When alone at home, what's Sushant's favorite time pass? What is it that you like to do?
Right now, I mean, like it changes all the time, but right now it's guitar and books
Okay.
and video games.
An upcoming film of yours you think will be a milestone film of your career?
All my films. That's why I'm doing it.
Great. A food item you cannot live without?
Gulab Jamun.
Gulab jamun. All right. By which name your friends used to call you in your college days?
Rajput.
Which three actors you would want to be your classmates?
Not the ones who are studious for sure.
Huh?
How can I name?
Three actors. Any actors?
I want as my
your
classmates.
As your classmates. Yeah.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. If following people were your teacher, what would you learn from them? Shraddha Kapoor.
How to smile.
Oh,
All right. Shah Rukh Khan.
sweet.
How to be passionate.
Varun Sharma.
How to be thoughtful as at the same time reckless. Thoughtful and reckless. That's a very great combination.
Profound. आप सबके सब शायर मौजूद हैं यहाँ पर.
अरे.
Which engineering branch has more beautiful girls? Computer engineering or electronics engineering?
Computers.
Computers. Okay. Your favorite place in college? Canteen or classroom?
Sorry?
Your favorite place in
Canteen.
Canteen. Okay. If Lakhna was on Tinder, what would his profile say today? If you can say that in Hindi.
Tinder बेईमान बागी सावधान.
हाँ, बहुत बढ़िया है. टिंडर बेईमान. क्या बात. नाइस. क्या बात.
Okay. What would be Lakhna's pickup line for girls?
सोन चिड़ैया. That's it, यार सोने की चिड़िया बोल रहा
हाँ,
है.
सोन चिड़ैया. हाँ, क्या बात है. अरे
Inflection में देखा ना डाला है.
सोन चिड़ैया.
कुछ उसके अलावा अगर कहना चाहें तो.
पिक्चर है प्लग इन कर रहा हूँ मैं.
वो लड़की को गोल्डन बर्ड बोल रहा है, मतलब लड़की तो
लड़की
धराशायी.
खुश, मैंने नाम ले लिया, प्रोड्यूसर खुश, सब खुश है सर. रहने दीजिए.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
It was all just a dream.
It was all just a dream.
What a line.
ऐसा गाना जो आपको कभी भी नाचने पे मजबूर कर दे.
अच्छे गाने. देखिए मैंने डांस से शुरू किया था. इंजीनियरिंग जब मैं कर रहा था तो पहले डांस करता था. तो मैंने देखा कि मुझे किसी रिदम से बहुत प्यार है. तो बोल नहीं होते उतना चेंज इन कॉम्पोजिशन उतना नहीं होता. ये सब भी होता है, लेकिन मैं किसी रिदम से बहुत प्यार करता हूँ, किसी रिदम से उतना प्यार नहीं करता हूँ. और किसी रिदम पे कोई सा डांस हो सकता है. तो दैट डिफाइंस दैट. सो यस. So there are many songs that have great rhythm. All those songs I would love to dance.
Any song that comes to mind?
मैं सबसे पुराना अगर या सुनते रहते हैं, कहीं बजता रहता है, बेथोवन की सिम्फनी है, तो उसमें आप कितनी भी कोरियोग्राफी कर सकते हैं. जैसे शेक्सपियर में 5 लाख प्लेस कर दीजिए, रोमियो एंड जूलियट में फिर भी थोड़ा वेरिएशन निकलेगा. इट इज द सेम थिंग विद दीज. दोज आर मैथमेटिक्स. Actually, music, the composition is a very good progression in mathematics. So yeah, rhythm.
लखना की एक ऐसी गाली जो सुशांत भी बहुत बार इस्तेमाल करते हैं.
भगवान.
जो मैं बोलता हूँ वो लखना बोल ही नहीं सकता था.
हाँ.
आउट ऑफ नॉट फैसिनेशन विद द लैंग्वेज, लेकिन मैं जो यूज करता हूँ एक ही चीज बार बार, वो अंग्रेजी शब्द है. और वो इसीलिए अंग्रेजी नहीं है कि मुझे अंग्रेजी ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है, वो जस्ट आदत पड़ गई. तो लखना तो वो बोल ही नहीं सकता था, तो मैं बच गया हूँ सर.
जी. बच गए.
एक चीज जो लखना को बाकी डकैतों से अलग करती है.
कॉन्टेम्पलेशन. सर क्या जो कैरेक्टर है वो कर चुके हैं, तो इसलिए मैं उनसे भी अलग हूँ. तो सिर्फ एक इकलौता बागी इज रिबेलियन, राइट? एंड रिबेलियन अगेंस्ट आइडियाज प्रोबेबली. So if you're so rebellious against a particular idea, you have clarity of thought. So if you have clarity of thought, why are you contemplating? but I'm the contemplative one, so it's a paradoxical. Advait.
लखना की सबसे बड़ी कमजोरी?
भरोसा करना अच्छी बात है, सब पे भरोसा करना अच्छी बात नहीं होती. मतलब अच्छी क्या है? गलत हो सकता है खुद की सुरक्षा के लिए.
फॉलोइंग चीजें, ठंडा या गर्म, आपको क्या लगता है? डेटिंग एप्स?
ठंडा.
फास्ट फूड?
ठंडा.
लेट नाइट चैटिंग?
डिपेंड करता है कि कौन है. किसी किसी को रात को दिमाग ज्यादा काम करता है तो वो दिन में सो जाए, तो मतलब ऐसा दिन रात पे तो नहीं कर सकते.
हॉरर नॉवेल्स?
क्या कहते हैं उसको?
गरम.
गरम गरम
गरम गरम.
गरम.
Okay.
हाँ.
अल्कोहल?
ये डिपेंड करता है कि क्या ले रहे हो.
Since the time the movie has released and it has been doing extremely well, it's been definitely obviously like an extremely positive experience for you, but also, you know, once you make it big and like just 100 crores, and obviously all the judgments they start coming in as well, that you know, it's funny that if an actor, if he has a successful film, if he doesn't raise his price, it is said that maybe he lacks the business skills and he needs to acquire like a better manager or something like that. And if he does raise his price, he said that
Has got arrogance.
okay, he's got like he's becoming pricey.
Yeah.
Is it something that how are you dealing with such things?
Two things. One, if you are successful, please raise your price, because you don't know the next failure. You won't be responsible for it, but you will fail and nobody will hire you again. So make money till the time you can.
Make hay while the sun shines. Okay.
Having said that, fortunately or unfortunately, I had signed 5 films before Dhoni got released.
Right.
So I was not renegotiating my money. 3, suddenly all these negative articles are around me, talking about my tantrums and all these things, which is very funny because they don't affect me, number 1. And 2 is, I know that, I think everybody has woken up, because till now I wasn't even discussed, and now they are targeting me. So I have that quote, that Mahatma Gandhi's quote, and I've actually added 2 lines, which I also tweeted recently.
Right.
It's like, how do you know? What's the litmus test of knowing that you're going right? So first, people, they ignore you completely. Then they will laugh at you.
Right.
Then they will fight with you.
Right.
And then you win. Till now it was Mahatma Gandhi. I've added 2 lines. And the funny thing is, you were never bothered. Not because you are dismissive of people's opinion, but you are doing it because of something completely different. I don't want money in the sense of I don't work for money. You give it to me, I'll keep it. But if you don't give it to me, I'm still happy. So I don't work for that. You think that by doing a negative stories, people would think badly about me. I don't care. That's their headache. They need to deal with it. As far as me and my equation with my work is concerned, it is undiluted. So please don't waste your time.
And apparently you've been just changing scenes and
Yeah,
having
suddenly.
opinions on that, and
Maybe I had this premonition that my film would do 100 crores, and because Rabta I was shooting 2 months back.
Right.
So maybe I had a premonition that this film would do, so I can do it right now. And I was throwing time. This is absurd. Because one thing that I'm craving for in each and every film, play or TV show, that my director to come up to me and say that, no, you know what is not working? Let's try something else. And then you are alive again. Right. Let's try something else. Why would I try to change the scene? It's completely absurd. So also I just have a request for all these people who are doing it.
Which TV actor is your favorite and inspires you a lot?
I don't see it like TV actor. Let me be very specific. And I don't like saying TV actors. I mean, like mediums are mediums,
Actors
of course,
are
and
actors.
actors are actors. These are
Actors are
completely 2 different things. And people think that, I did theatre, and then I did background dancing. I was also a background dancer once upon a time.
Shamak, you trained
Yes.
with.
So I've danced behind all the stars. And theatre, and then TV, and then films. So this is the way I have, they say, graduated. No, it is not.
Who all stars have you?
Shahid Kapoor, Hrithik Roshan, Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Imran Hashmi,
Interesting.
Abhishek Bachchan, again, yeah.
All right.
Preeti Zinta, Aishwarya Rai.
Mona from Patna, what makes you so fearless when you come to choose your characters? Don't you get a second thought before experimenting?
No, I do it for a different reason. I mean, I have 11 or 12 things that I absolutely love doing, and one of those 12 things is acting. So I understand why I act. So first of all, I really like acting, and the second thing, I use it for something else. It is not to compete. It is not to be secure. I have 11 more things. But that doesn't make this less important. I also love this. So I keep it safe. The more I diversify, the better I have to become as an actor. The better I become as an actor, the more chances of survival.
Veer Singh from Patna, 3 acting tips.
Observe. चारों तरफ तीनों टिप यही है. Observe को listen भी याद रख सकते हैं.
Akhil Thota from Hyderabad, India. What was the emotional situation of Sushant when he got 7th rank in AIEEE, where his mother was passed away recently?
It was not in AIEEE, but it was in one of the engineering entrance exam which is held nationally. But yeah, it was a very overwhelming, although AIEEE also, my rank was very good. But, you know, more than anything, my mother passed away in December and 2002. And Jan was my pre-boards and of course boards and then IITs and all. And it was so unpredictable that so that happened on 13th of December. I could not understand anything for a month. I flunked my pre-boards, by the way, almost. And then suddenly in 15-20 days, I was like, what am I doing? And I just went for it. And I cleared almost all engineering entrances. Yeah. In between, I could not understand anything. And so it was a very, how do I say, respite. You know, like, I don't have to now prove anything to anybody. Because my mother was always worried, that you should take care of yourself. I know there are many expectations. But do something so that, you know, people don't say that you are not successful in your life. While she went like that, so now more the reason I should do this. And when that happened, I was like, now I can do what I want.
This is Prateek from Sydney. You like to read a lot. Do you think reading has changed you as a person or changed your thought process?
Yeah, the more number of ways we know that we can see or view anything, perspectives, the better it is in life. You don't get confrontational with anybody because you have multiple views on anything. So what happens when you read a lot, those are the writers that think in your brain for that time when you're reading. So it's like renting your brain to the writer to think till the time you're reading a book, right? So if you read multiple of books on a particular subject, let's say, so you'll have multiple of point of views on the same thing, while we only understand that there is a right way and then there is a wrong way, or there are wrong ways. But it's not that, there are right ways also. So we get to know that. So first of all, we appreciate the fact that, you know, we are not so right. Everybody could be right at the same time. And also know specifically what are the things that are right. So it's a very good place to be in. Everyone should read and read a lot.
All right, so as I mentioned in the intro that you have this unique ability to internalize. When I watched Kedarnath, the confusion about the religious identity in a way and or be it the class divide, there's a lot of subtlety in your performance. Would you like to talk about that?
I think it's very recently that I realized one thing, that we all act all the time. I'm not saying act in terms of that we lie all the time, but I'm saying that we generally act all the time. And as an actor, what I used to do in films is that we are told not to act, make it natural. Well, that's a great way to go. But then I thought my characters, just like me, could also act in front of my co-characters. So when you think like that, then you try to cut down your emotions so that the other co-character does not. If you don't want to, if you don't want them to know, then you're cutting down on emotions, and what you're left with on your face are just those small nuances. Wow. So this is what I understood. It was not something that I planned like that, but I understood that my characters can act in front of my co-characters. And when you do that, and when you play a character like Mansoor, who's very restrained, he actually defines his perimeter, what he cannot do. Then what gets left on his face is those small nuances. And that's exactly what he was supposed to do, basically, in the film.
Okay, so the love story between you and Sarah is working very nicely. How do you respond when you see people sitting in dark halls, responding to certain things happening on the screen the way you guys had intended them to?
I can only assume that that's happening because I have not experienced it. I generally don't watch my film when it releases. Probably I'll watch it after a few months when I can watch two or three of my films back to back. So there is a certain takeaway. You understand that, oh, this is something that you do and should not do, because that's a pattern in all the films. You are playing 3 characters, so there shouldn't be any similarity in terms of unintentional. So then there is a takeaway. So I don't watch my films that much. So I don't understand. I don't have the experience of it, but I can only assume that they would understand that, and it's a very great feeling.
You have this tendency of posting couplets from prominent poets. You've been posting Nida Fazli Saab. You've posted Jazbi Saab, which I think a lot of people wouldn't even be maybe knowing, because he's a very classical poet.
Absolutely.
And since I'm from Aligarh, so I know that because he is from Aligarh.
Ji.
So how important is reading, or maybe pursuing certain hobbies for any creative person, and how it impacts their art, creative art?
I think it's very important. That's the only thing, by the way, which is in our hand to be creative. There are many things because of which we become creative, but the only thing that is so dynamic that it's in our hand completely, which will make us more creative, is this: learning. And learning new things, by the way, just not learning one thing. Learning new things and learning the same thing in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So you learn different things and you learn the same thing in different ways. And there's this thing which we understand now, that the more you learn, the less time it takes to learn more. So you become, so generally we think that, oh, we are left with so much time, we are so busy in our lives, and there are so many years left. How many things we can learn? What will happen? No, it's not that. The more you learn, the lesser it will take for you to learn even more. And that's a very key thing to understand. So you will start learning many things. Things that you will try for the first time will be 50%, easier for you than anybody else. And it is not about competing, let me tell you. Of course, when you have 10, 12 skills, you will take care of yourself for the rest of your life. With one skill you can. By the way, with no skill you can, if you're smart. And that happens all the time. But say that you have 10, 12 skills. And also, you're not stopping because you like doing it. Then you're saved for the rest of your life. So it is not about competing at all. So it is more about now, like, do you want to come and we have the experience together? So it's more about coming together than competing.